I love my theme song. I love my wife when she sleeps, and I love my big cup. Where's your big cup?
Downstairs. I just grabbed it.
Welcome to the greatest show about the Iraqi dinar. I believe that we're doing things differently. We're setting trends. We're making people see things that maybe they didn't think of before. And we're giving you insight into what we see on a daily basis. Not just from an investor's position, but from the position of somebody who's trying to study this like you study anything, to be the best at it. And with that, I have to say good evening. And the theme music's over because it is 7 o'clock on the dot, right?
You mean 9?
9 on the dot. Yep, 9 o'clock CST. Welcome to the status of the Iraqi Dinar IQD. How are you tonight, Miss BB?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. You gave me a probiotic earlier and my tummy's a little hurt. I need a fresh twist and my edges laid to the gourds. But I'm feeling good. I've got my new Astro shirt on, and around everybody, we are exactly at about, how many viewers do we have on? Not viewers, but how many subs do we have on here?
Give me a second.
Is that your channel or my channel?
This is my channel.
Okay.
I talk to them through my channel.
Oh, okay. So April communicates you through her channel, but...
No, but they see April BB in the chat. That's why I do that, remember? Because then they'll confuse me for you.
Right on, Donkey Kong.
Come on. I'm not good with Apple. We say that. Okay.
So we have almost 200 people in the live chat.
3,394.
All right. So when we get to 4,000, I'm going to do the video about winning your Astros t-shirts. I got men's and women's sizes. When I hit 5,000 subs, we're going to give away t-shirts. Or if you don't want a t-shirt,
You mean 4,000 subs?
4,000 subs, I'm going to do the video. 5,000 subs, we're going to do the video, the giveaway.
The IQD. 5K at IQD.
Oh, I'm sorry. 5K IQD at 50,000 at 5K subs. I'll do that video at 4,000 subs. What are you looking at? You look kind of confused.
I'm confused. Yeah.
How so? If you don't understand, if I get 5,000 subs, I'm doing a $50,000 giveaway.
Okay.
What was confusing about that?
Just threw out a whole bunch of numbers all at once. So that's all. But go ahead.
And gold or no gold. Remember, at the end of the month, we said, I believe it was the 29th. Gold or no gold is going to win you the t-shirts, not the 5,000 giveaway. I messed that up earlier, but I was just making Miss B feel uncomfortable because that's what I do on a daily basis. Now, tonight, we're going to call Lee back, but we got to do our introductions, okay? So this is the part where I tell you to turn your radios down. A lot of people say out there you don't like the theme music or whatever. I don't care. I'm playing theme music every day. The roof. I go to work playing that theme music. I come home playing that theme music. I play that theme music in the shower. It motivates me. Someone made that for me, and doggone it, I'm going to appreciate it and do what they made for me because they created it. Thank you, James, excuse me. Thank you, James, for doing that for me. And thank you, Bethany, for my giant cup. I love it. I drink out of it every day.
And I carry my bag every single day. That's my work bag now.
And I am appreciative of all of you. So, ladies first.
I am April BB. And thanks, Kenneth, for the shout out on the Golden State Warriors. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But she's wearing a Rockets t-shirt.
Right.
Anyway.
That's why he's going to give me a Golden State Warriors t-shirt.
Yeah, right.
Cali all day.
No, it's Houston all day.
Cali all day.
Anyway, I am Mr. Brando. And this is my tough face. You guys should be extremely crunk. Last video, I thought we were going to break the internet. We're going to break it tonight. We're already at 286 live viewers. I'm going to go ahead and get Lee on the phone now because Lee has been doing some more analytical work, and we've been conversing back and forth. But the main thing Lee and I have been doing is talking about the dinar and talking about the SBA. So I'm going to get Lee on the phone, and we're going to talk about the news with Lee because it's important that I tie things together. And I have to paint that picture for you. So please, right now, if you don't have a pen and paper, we're going to give you some dates. Would you please go get your pen and paper? No, Pepe Hush. Luther. Oh, Luther stuff. What's going on, Luke?
Not a whole lot. What's going on?
Okay, bro. So I have to put you in position here. So we kind of talked about this earlier. We're going to do the news together because I kind of want you to.
I'm wondering if you're covering some of these things. Have you seen that the dinar went up 12%?
I saw that it had dropped, but it went up 12%.
No, it's saying that the USD IDQ increased 1.4300 or up 12%. So that was on Monday. I mean, it's good news because if you look at the data, there's a slight, or I should say a slow increase that's been happening gradually over the last few months.
Okay. And we've talked about that slow increase the last couple of days, right?
Oh, yeah, but I think it's just something that's leading up to something bigger, to be honest with you.
Okay, but we're going to get to that, so don't spoiler alert me yet. This is not the Us movie. Okay, so we're going to get to the news. So, Pepe, tell them some things that I should be looking for in the news to educate them better. What things should I be telling them?
For me, again, whenever we're talking about the dinar, I want to look at anything and everything that will affect it. But most importantly, we should be focusing on the memorandum of understanding and the most recent standby agreement.
And inside of that standby agreement, they talk about things like them having a good handle on big corruption, right?
Yeah, well, there's the standby agreement. Basically, all it is saying, look, I guess the best way to put it is, Iraq creates money. The money doesn't go to them. It goes to the IMF who holds it. It gives them an allowance. Is a good way to look at it. Basically, what they're doing is just making sure that the country has the ability to stand on its own economically.
Okay.
Now, a lot of countries come to the IMF whenever there's some type of natural disaster or some war or some major corruption. And basically what they're saying is, look, we can't function as a government. We can't afford to. We need your help. And then what happens, the IMF comes into some type of agreement saying, look, we will help you, but these types of things need to be done. And we feel in order to get you back on your feet. And so that's where IMF comes in as far as this latest agreement with Iraq.
So when they talk about the news that there was a big corruption mafia in the Ministry of Finance, what called for an investigation, Mahandi said that there's a problem, and they went beyond all laws and regulations, pointing out that the Inspector General of the Ministry is fighting this mafia. What does that kind of tell you about our position with the IQD?
Well, there's supposedly two mafia-style groups forming. Now, of course, that's concern when it comes to the IQD, that, we got to make sure that corruption is not taking hold of the government again, because this would set us back. But there seems to be a general consensus that they are aware of these groups. They know who they are. Nothing that I've seen seems to jump out at us that goes, oh my God, this is going to be a setback. I think what they're realizing is they identified these groups and that they will be handled.
So one of those groups is going to be called the Popular Struggler Militia. They're one of these groups that are out there, and Mahandi's kind of rejecting them, any scenario for the return of Prime Minister Abadi, but there was supposedly a play last week to have Abadi put back in by Sauder. But the statement about policy in relation to the militia popular crowd file, Abdul Mahandi said he considers historic achievement in Iraq, stressing this great role of the militia. So I think militias are a giant problem for Iraq. And like Pepe just said to you guys, there are two major militias out there that are, if ISIS is completely gone, right? We talked about that. The caliphate is dead, right?
Yeah, the caliphate is now, I want people to understand that the ISIS ideology, of course, is not gone, but Trump has ended the caliphate, which is good news, of course, because one of the IMF's concerns were, of course, the ISIS group. So if we have that particular threat removed, this is just another positive step for Iraq.
The International Monetary Fund sent on Thursday, it supported a decision by the Federal Reserve to halt its campaign to raise interest rates. Given the global scope, uncertainty facing the U.S. economy, we support the Federal Reserve's decision to be patient in deciding future changes in the federal funds rate, IMF spokesperson said. The U.S. Central Bank on Wednesday put a sudden end to its 3-year-old effort to tighten monetary policy, shrugging off expectations for any interest rate increases this year amid signs of economic slowdown, and said it would halt its steady budget cut in September. Okay, so the next thing is Iraqi. Okay, so I always say that positive things that we need to see is a bolster of the private sector, right, Pepe?
Oh yeah.
So when you see
Anything
stuff,
that positively affects the economical growth of Iraq, we want to focus on. I know we talked about things like we saw a huge jump in gold reserves. We talked about that. You know what I mean? Just since July of 2018, January 2009, it's huge. There was a huge jump for Iraq. That's a good indication. We talked about the slight jump in the dinar gradually happening over the last few months. Let's see what other things we talked about. Oh yeah, Iraq is now second to Saudi Arabia in regards to oil production.
so they are back to
Post-sanction levels.
Right, they're back to post-sanction levels. Okay, and with that, we've got to talk about trade. The UA said that the trade, they want to go ahead and bolster trade with Iraq up past $5.5 billion. They say it's kind of a unbalanced trade agreement. They want to do more trade there. I'm trying to find something else here.
Oh, when it comes to trade, I mean, you can literally go in and look at the news articles. You have a ton of countries coming in, creating new trade agreements with Iraq, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. I know Iran wants to. They were talking about Qatar came in. I mean, there are a lot of people.
Israel.
Now, you have to think about this. You know, unless they really thought that there was Iraq was good to go, why would you go into any kind of trade agreements with them? Because they would become, the trade agreements would seem no good unless they had a lot of faith in the Iraq government and where they stand right now economically. Does that make sense? In other words, why do I want to go make a trade agreement with a country that we think is no good? Apparently, all these countries are feeling like something big is about to happen for Iraq. They're making the moves. Another thing that people should be paying attention to is on the Iraq Stock Exchange. All of the construction companies.
Hold on.
Oh,
I'm doing the interview here, Mr. Pimpe. So I have a question, Pimpe. We're about to talk about the ISX. We're about to talk about Economy Baghdad. Why exactly are there 900 projects worth $54 billion are being blocked in Iraq because of the financial and bureaucratic crisis? Why is that going on?
That's okay. This is, again, my opinion based on what I read. I have a feeling the reason why these are being held up is because they really need the strength of the dinar to increase in order for these projects to really work. Okay? Because part of the IMF monitoring process in the last few months before the end of the SBA is to monitor the economical growth of Iraq. Well, you can't see true, real growth until the dinar rate exchange has gone up. How do you know if Iraq's going to have the ability to stand up? Well, these projects also are, they're reliant on the rate exchange as well. But they need the exchange to change.
Okay, can I say this, though? So a lot of these companies are international companies that are coming in. And the reason why they have to be held up is because they can't invest in a company. If they put a dollar in or a euro in or a yen in, they can't get their yen, dollar, or euro out. So, of course, they have to be held up. They don't have free capital flow. The investment law hasn't been, or maybe it has been. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Maybe it has been amended to a satisfactory rate by the IMF. But as of this point, they're saying, look, we're holding up all these things because the projects, they're $54 billion, shows the project stopped because of the collapse of oil price, the bureaucratic procedures of Iraq. But more so, we believe that they're being held up because they're the readiness for Iraq to enter the international stage and to make the dinar international, thus making contracting and stuff like that accessible, right? So
well, the other big thing is you got to remember, we're trying to get away from dual currencies. So, I think any country coming in and investing into Iraq, you're going to be struggling with the issue of the Iraqi people. What do you want to do? You want to get paid in the money that's more valuable or your own money that's less valuable? So the way to solve that problem, of course, is just to make sure that the Iraqi dinar is competitive with the other rates. That's necessary.
That's almost crucial, right?
Yeah, well, it also leads into what we talked about before. A lot of the comments on these memorandum of understandings is Iraq government having to share the wealth with the Iraqi people. And when
hold on. Let's not go there yet.
Go ahead.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because I want to talk more about what is the main holdup on the ISX as far as a blockage goes as a stock companies that you see right now.
Well, I noticed that, and I think that George brought it to my attention at first, but one thing we noticed is that the construction companies were all on hold. Why?
That's kind of odd, isn't it? I mean, that's kind of odd for
that, and the 900 projects were 54 billion. Why are they on hold? My feeling is this: they know they have to change the rate. The rate has to change. So there's a meeting currently happening starting tomorrow through the 29th. So the word is.
Hold on. Let me give the viewers an idea here. So viewers, right now, this is one of the main dates you need to write down. It's not a date of exchange. It's a date. It's a benchmark date. Understand the purpose here. To understand where you're going, you got to understand the journey. Write these dates down. So say it again, Pepe. What's the dates? Not all the dates, just this one date.
You talked about there's some dates that we really want to keep an eye on that we feel are the magic dates, so to speak.
So what's the first set of magic dates that people need to write down right now?
March 26th through the 29th.
So March 26th to the 29th, you need to write those dates down. And Pepe, we're going to go over each date, so don't give them all away. Why is March 26th through the 29th an important date for people to watch?
Because the rate exchange might happen within that date range. This is because they need to make the rate change happen now in order for them to launch these projects, launch these companies on time to start the infrastructure building end of spring and beginning of summer. Okay.
So is it any kind of coincidence you think that Mike Pompeo has visited all the Middle Eastern companies basically with a renounced vigor to really get rid of the militias that Iran holds, to kind of loosen their stranglehold? You kind of talk to me a little bit about why you believe that those militias are going to be weakened. I mean, so why?
I talked about how, in my opinion, that Trump was being slick. He was using Iraq like a lure.
Like a bait, right?
To sucker in Iran, who was putting all their eggs in one basket, dealing with Iraq. And once they had started to do that, he was going to jump in and say, ha-ha, and that's exactly what's going on. Mike Pompeo's over there right now. They're really making moves to stick it to Iran and to make sure that Iraq is free of Iran.
And we've talked about that. We've talked about the militias being bad, and the militias are bad. And people are saying, well, why don't they just go in there and just kick them out? Well, the DOJ has to pass one of the laws. And I'm not saying this is an indicator. I'm just saying it's a new indicator for me. When I see the DOJ pass the laws that those Iranian militias will be treated like terrorists, I will have a total different reservation about the Iraqi dinar. That, to me, will be a telltale sign about stability within the regions, not just in Iraq, but in the Middle East as a whole, because they're not just in Iraq. They're in Yemen. They're in Lebanon. They're in Syria. Yes. They're all over the place causing havoc. And they all report to this Hezbollah, the Mullah, Hezbollah. Okay. Yeah. And those people are bad news. And so we need to weaken their position to see.
I think that's why you see BB's here now with Trump. And Trump's made it as clear as day that they are the allies of Israel and that they give the green light for the bombing that's happening by Israel over to Hezbollah. So, yeah, I think that's another major thing that's coming up. That's totally something different.
Do you think it's kind of a coincidence that the House speakers over in Washington, D.C. right now talking to the administration about stuff like this? It seems like he's the only go-getter.
I think here's what I really think is that Iraq is the center point for major Middle Eastern development. Right? Mm-hmm. That's like ground zero. Mm-hmm. So as it continues to rebuild, the other countries around it are going to rebuild. So what you're going to have is the people of each of these countries are not going to tolerate these tyrannical governments anymore. They're going to start experiencing what it's like to be free, what the free market's like. They're going to be able to have higher wages, better ways of living, and they're just not going to want to turn back around. They're just not going to tolerate it. You're going to see the people start rising up.
Now, one interesting thing that we talked about is that we wanted to see wealth sharing amongst the Iraqi people, all Iraqi peoples. I don't want to get into it too clearly, so I'm gonna tell them about this article. I'm trying to get Miss Bibi to help me out a little bit. She transcribed it for me earlier. Everybody was talking about two things that we're severely looking for. I'm looking for a formal acceptance of Article 140, right? And I'm also looking for news about the HCL law, right? Pimpin?
Yes.
The HCL law to share the oil sharing revenues, which the SBA says that they must do, right?
No, I thought that was already done. I think that's a done deal, but I'll try to find it for you. I could have swore I read something about that. And this goes back into what we're talking about, how the IMF has a lot of, it has mentioned many times that the Iraqi government really owes the Iraqi people, and that, the wealth has to be shared.
So it says right here that the imposition of the new geographical and historical reality, the disputed areas is unacceptable, Barzani said during a speech. So Barzani has gotten on here and said they need to implement Article 140 Constitution peacefully and through dialogue and agreement. So now that the people are saying that we need Article 140 again, now you haven't seen this often, but he said it here just the other day. He pointed out the Kurdistan region government will work in coordination with the Iraqi government to solve the problems of residents of the disputed areas and ensure all of their needs. So with that, we go back.
But you're hitting a good point. I want you to think about this.
Okay.
If you really want your economy to grow, there are certain things you have to have in place. One is you have to have jobs. That's what all these projects are, right?
Thus, they have one of the highest unemployment rates, and also they have one of the actual overall populace ages. It's one of the youngest in the world. I think the average age in Iraq is about 30 or 33.
Well, that
or
goes
something.
into the visas, allowing people from other countries to come in and help
Right.
as well. And that's why they want to do the no fee thing, because they know they're really going to grow. Now, also, these people have to be able to, feel like they're able to buy things now. This goes back to why, again, I think sooner than later, the rate exchange is going to happen. The people need to have their money to get around to work, to be able to shop, buy food, pay their bills. They have to be able to. So it's one thing to have a job, but it isn't any good if you're, making $1 a week. I'm just exaggerating, of course. But it's no good if you're making low wages and you're not able to get the job, get food, or not able to get the work. So that has to change. These people have to increase the rate of the dinar so that it changes the cost of living, and the way the lifestyles of the Iraqi people have to improve so they can feel good about the direction that they're going in. This will stimulate the economy.
So when Mahandi gets out here and says that the government was able to accomplish the promise by the government program according to time schedules, indicating the seriousness and urgent search to provide tens of thousands of job opportunities for citizens to development of port sectors, especially in the Shat al-Arab and Fail. The armed forces that Iraq is closely watching what is happening in the areas of Siran, Boghuz, and took the necessary security and military measures to preserve the security of the country from any terrorist infiltration, and pointed to the Mahdi central role played in Iraq at the present time in the pursuit of openness and the investment of balanced relations with the states of interest of our people. So when you see that they're getting all these people out there working, you love seeing that.
Well, yeah, because, think about this. In order for them to really blossom, to really grow, to really take off economically, the infrastructure has to get started. Now, the infrastructure is, the buildings, the roads, the power supplies. All these things need to first be put into place before a lot of other things can happen. So I think I cannot think of any reason to delay any longer in the starting of the infrastructure in Iraq, because once that happens and people are able to transport from one area to another, the roads are better, the buildings are better, the living conditions are better, the economy is going to take off, which of course benefits us in the ISX, by the way.
Okay, so let's talk about something else real quick. Let's talk about this gang that was just busted the other day, and they were making and minting coins.
Actually, that was in March of 2018.
Okay, so my question is, in March of 2018, how the heck did ISIS know that there were coins out there to be minted?
Okay, so the state, the Islamic State, had put out that they were going to make gold coins, new ones, of course, according to Sharia, is what they were doing. The coins had specific writing on them. ISIS was aware of it. They actually took the minting machines from I believe, the Central Bank of Iraq. And then right sometime in March of 2018, the Syrian armed forces, of all people, actually found these. Now, there's no way of knowing how many's out there, but they had, and I think you posted a picture, but as you can see, there are several machines, and so the gold coins were well on their way of being produced. But again, not just Iraq; these coins affect a handful of countries. So the gold coins were their attempt to move back into the gold-backed currencies, what it was, the gold and silver currencies.
So a dumb question would be: so if the bad guys knew about it, right, and we know about it, who else knows that there's coins and lower fills out there? You think?
Well, of course, anybody that knows that the Iraq's part of their getting back on their feet is they have to be able to. One of the ways to transfer your wealth back into the hands of the people, of course, is being able to provide them gold and silver coins. Okay, that's how it used to be back in the olden days. Your currency had literal value. Unlike now, the fiat system is just a copper coin, a nickel-plated coin, or it's a paper currency, and the only value that's on it is the promise from the Federal Reserve, which they're promising worth of crap. Now, I posted a picture about the different monetary systems changing, but the one consistent thing that's been consistent for the last 5,000 years, as far as any ongoing currency, is gold. Gold has been, out of all the systems we ever used, gold has been the most consistent. And actually, for the past 300 years, gold has been the reserve currency. In other words, that's the fallback every time the currency fails. So whenever we move from one system to the next, we fall right back into gold. And that's happening again.
Okay, so let's go to let's go to talk about date number 2. So all my little kangaroo coups out there, write down this second date that Pempe is going to tell you real quick. We've talked about this. We're going to give you a brief synopsis of it. Pempe, what's the second set of dates that you need to write down?
April 21st and 22nd. There's a second meeting with the Ministry on Finance and the discussion, possibly, if it hasn't happened by then, the rate exchange.
And where'd you get that information from?
I actually, why did I know you're going to tell me this? I was reading multiple articles, and he talked about it in one of the articles, or not the articles, it's part of the memorandum of understanding, I think, in there is when he mentioned it. And the funny thing is, when I seen it, I said I should grab this, but now I kept going. So my apologies. But it is. It's a key date.
Okay.
There's 2 key dates in which the Ministry of Finance is meeting to talk about the outlook of Iraq, the goals that are set, and how they're going to achieve these goals, and the steps that are needed. And make no doubt about it, the rate exchange plays a huge part in what it is they're trying to accomplish. So April 21st and 22nd is the next date range in which the rate change could happen if it doesn't happen in March.
Right now.
My opinion, it has to happen in March or April. It can't be delayed any longer.
Opinions aren't necessary, okay?
Okay.
I want to keep everybody grounded, okay? I don't want people quitting their jobs and selling their houses.
Stuff. Don't do that, please.
Right, please. I understand our excitement now, Pempe, but let's keep it under wraps, okay? Because I don't want to be called a pumper, okay? So I agree with you on that. Now, I'm going to extend your date from April 21st to the 23rd, because remember, on April 23rd, I have my friend that's involved in large institutional buyings that told me that he will tell me everything I need to know about the Iraqi dinar on April 23rd. And he's going to come on here live and read his statement from the institutions and tell us exactly why those institutions bought dinar. So April 21st to the 23rd are another key component. Write that down.
That's good. If you think about what your friend's telling you, then all that does is lend at least some credibility to what we're saying.
No, I know. We're right on track. Everything we've been told, we know. I mean, these are facts. These aren't things that we're guessing at. These are things that we're reading.
It's hard not to get overly excited. I mean, I know you guys have been at this a long time. I've only been at it a couple of months, but everything that I'm looking at, I mean, I'm jumping around like a Mexican jumping bean. I'm like, oh my God, this is really going to happen. If you look at everything that's happened so far and what's left to happen, I mean, talk about coming in at the right time.
Right. So, okay, so let's go a little bit further. Let's see if I got a question out here. I'm not seeing any questions, so okay, I'm gonna give you guys an example. Okay, Pempe, who's an analyst, is giving you everything you need to do to help put all the puzzle pieces together. I'm giving him information, and he's giving me information, and we're playing off it. But synopsis speaking, because he gave it to another analyst friend, Miss BB's analyst. I gave it to Bethany. I gave it to Seamus. I gave it to people that I know are either business owners, holders, people are used to looking at PP&Ls. PP&Ls is profit and loss statements, correct? Ms. BB?
Sorry?
A PP&L is like a profit and loss statement, right?
P&L.
A P&L, I'm sorry, P&L. I've given it to them. I've given it to people that are much more advanced in the, would you guys call it the economic world, right? Because you guys are used to kind of looking at stuff.
Finance,
economic.
Yeah.
That's not my forte. I'm a big picture person. I don't get in the minutia things. So I've given these guys these things to read. Now, Pempe is taking it a step further, and Luther's looking at the SBA agreement through a certain date. Now, I don't want to get to that date yet. I want to say this. We were at 506 viewers. That is huge. Now, I want to go into dive directly into this right now. Pempe, the last set of dates is based upon a certain piece of information that you know, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, I believe it's probably the most important thing that you know as a analyst or as a researcher, okay? So, do you want to dive into that now, or do you want to take a question or two?
Well, I just want to straighten up something, because on your last video that we did, I didn't hear you quite good enough. You said, do I analyze white papers? No, what an analyst does is we're number people. So what I do is I analyze data.
Okay.
So I take a look at data, and based on what I see, I look for what's called trends.
Mhm.
Positive trends, negative trends, or trends that affect my ultimate goal or my investment in this thing. So that's what an analyst does. Now, again, my specialty is in the healthcare industry. I know it inside and out, but I mean, that doesn't limit my range. I mean, I do this with stocks. I do this with gold, silver, and other assets as well.
Okay, so is it fair to say if the trend was showing you something negatively, you would feel comfortable saying, hey, look, this is crap. Don't buy this.
Oh yeah, I would jump. I would tell you. People would not like it, because one thing I don't have a filter.
Okay.
So if it's crap, I'll tell you it's crap.
And I would believe Miss BB would probably concur with that, right?
What? That I don't have a filter?
Well, that too. You don't really have much of a filter, but you don't have.
No, I mean, there's no sense in candy coating or stringing people along.
Right.
People's livelihood. Some people, they're emotionally invested in this now. It's not just the currency no more. Some people have mentally spent the money in their mind. So if you take that dream from them, it could be very crushing. So there's no sense in trying to hold them up on a scaffold that isn't realistic. I'd rather say to you, look, this is what's going on. Yeah, it's going to take another 3 years. At least then you know. But that's the thing about me coming across this memorandum of understanding, is the fact that there was an actual timeline in there. If people would have known about it, then they probably wouldn't have been waking up every day going, today's the day. They would have at least been able to relax knowing that they got a little time before something starts to happen.
Okay, hold on. Miss BB was going to say something real quick. Go ahead, Miss BB.
Well, I think analysts do a lot of research and digging. I know we also see very black and white. I'm an analyst, but I come from a finance background, so accounting, finance, and forensic. So sometimes we look at things forwards and backwards.
Yes.
So, it just depends on what you're looking at. But like I said, I think we're more black and white people. I would say I'm more conservative. There are other people on the other side that are analysts. They're on, that are a little more risky. So
can I ask both you guys a question? If I had an economist on here, someone that's not an economist, right? That they're
an economist.
An economist. I'm sorry, an economist. I'm sorry, an
Okay,
economist.
I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Right, an economist, right? And they don't own any dinar, okay? But they're willing to come on the show on Wednesday and tell us why their economy will work with a revaluation. Would that be something as an analyst you'd be interested in?
Wait, I missed the last part cut out. What do you mean? If an economist comes on and tells you what?
Why they believe. Now, they don't own any dinar right now, right?
Yeah.
But they are a big believer in Iraq's economy, not because of the dinar or not because of the ISX, but because of the SBA and the MOU and all that stuff. They believe in that stuff. Would you guys be interested in something like that?
Well, an economist could come in and at least tell us how the economy is going to affect the IQD one way or the other, or the benefit of the revaluation of the IQD. That's what an economist does. All an economist is like a version of an analyst who focuses mostly on the economy. Now, see, you have people there are different types of analysts. You have people who are good analysts. In other words, they come in just like, they stay within a box. They only focus on the immediate things around what they're trying to analyze, all right? Then you have great analysts who come out and think a little bit outside of the box. And then you have phenomenal analysts. We don't want to know just what we see within the box. We want to see the bigger picture. We stand from 60,000 feet up and look down. So I say, okay, well, if I'm going to invest in a dinar, what affects the dinar? The economy, oil, politics, terrorist attacks, corruption. So you have to, I look at all of the bigger picture, the memorandum of understanding, the SBA, because anything and everything related to those affects the value of the dinar. That's what I do. I just say, okay, I'm not going to just look at, well, every day, let's go and find out what they're saying about the dinar. Or I'm not just going to look at the dinar rate. I want to look at everything. Well, that's what we're doing now, and that's what allows you to have a more clear picture or a more realistic idea of what's about to happen.
Hold on a second here, Pimpin. What are you going to say?
Well, they were having a conversation in the chat, and Chris made a comment. Many people believe that will happen on Passover, which is April 22nd or 23rd. And then they go on to say in a conversation, if not April, September. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so we have not September. We're off September. I mean, Pimpin and I have talked exclusively about this. So April 21st and 23rd, Pimpin, do you want to go ahead and drop the last bomb for him?
Yeah, this is why it won't be September.
Tell him.
Okay.
Hold on. This is the reason why 512 people are sitting here right now. 5 of them dropped off. Get a piece of paper. Write this last date down. This is I think one of the most important dates that we're going to ever tell you on this show. And I know people are going to say, well, you said this and you said that. You got to understand trends. And that's why I had to go find analysts. I had to go find economists. I had to go find people that are much brighter than I am to understand this investment from a timetable and benchmarks that are in papers that I don't want to read or I can't understand completely because it's a lot of information to take in. So, Pepe, will you please drop the last bomb?
Okay, the next day is going to be, I believe it's July the 19th, 2019. Okay,
and why is July 19th, 2019 important?
Because that is the end of the standby agreement.
And okay, what does the end of the standby agreement mean to us as dinar holders?
Okay, so here's what happens. Now, unless something pops up in which the IMF thinks they need, and just so you know, they're in 3-year increments, okay?
Right.
So this will be the end of the third SBA agreement. Now, the SBA agreement, let me tell you 2 things about it. Why I think this is the last one and no other one's coming.
Okay.
The end of the 3-year SBA agreement happens in July 2019. The reason why it ends and there's no longer a new one is because IMF believes that the Iraq economy and the Iraq state is able to, basically we're taking the training wheels off the bike. In other words, stand alone. They no longer need the help of the IMF. Okay,
but hold on. Slow down. What does the standby agreement say right now about the Iraq's progress to get to those training wheels coming off?
Okay, well, they wrote a memo or a letter back in 2017. And what they said on there was they felt their mission was done. They were at a level of satisfactory in which they did not need a new SBA, and this one would end in July 19th. They list all the reasons why. The GDP, the growth, the oil chain, everything. They listed everything in there with a minor concerns in there. One of the concerns was ISIS, which is no longer a concern. So in 2017, they really felt like Iraq was ready then. So this SBA is going to expire, I believe, this year, July 19th, 2019. Once that happens, that means Iraq is independent. They're no longer under the restrictions restrictions that the IMF gives them.
So whether the militia's there or not there, Maliki's there or not there, whether a snowflake falls in Iraq or whether the dam opens up or whatever happens, they're off the SBA if something doesn't happen between now and July 19th.
Yes.
So if they're off, now you talk to another analyst friend. Once the training wheels are off July 19th, they've either pretty much got to reinstate or what?
No, I think it has to be done before then. But once that, you got to understand that what is placing the restrictions on the dinar is the IMF, because it's how they monitor the level of corruption and everything else that goes on in there. Plus, it allows them to monitor the growth of the economy and everything else that's tied in to the dinar. Mm-hmm. So once that happens, then the IMF really doesn't have any say so. That means that the Iraq people are on their own and independent all over again without the restrictions.
So we've given you
restrictions is the rate of the dinar.
So right now we should be looking at meetings between the 26th and the 29th. We know that from there, it's my time frame that I've told everybody that I'm really looking for is the 21st to the 23rd of April. And then worst come to worst, Pempe says July 19th is the end. The Marshall Plan is over. There's an actual benchmarks in place. So we know for a fact, not guessing. I don't care about the news. I don't care about your favorite guru. I don't care about a receipt that was posted in some group somewhere about how they got paid, the MasterCards, the Visas. That is irrelevant. I know for a fact these dates are significant, right? Today, I believe, or yesterday was a significant date. It was the whatever anniversary of the Kuwait dinar revaluation. And I know that was a big to a lot of people. It's a dinarian's Christmas, but that date came and passed. So we know these dates can't come and pass barring any significant change, correct?
Yeah, I just, again, then if this is the case and anything's held up, it will be only and strictly because of the politicians of Iraq. No other reason. There won't be any outside reasons why the exchange rates are low. It will solely be on their shoulders.
So if we could possibly say that the only holdup at that point would be the politicians. So there's got to be some type of corruption way worse than we've ever thought of.
I think it's the only holdup now. Everything is already in place. Everything is there. I don't know why they've not made the change. Part of the IMF monitoring is the fact that the exchange rate must increase so they can see how the real economy goes. That's why I have reason to believe it's going to happen either in March or April. Now, that's just my personal opinion. Again, I don't want people selling their houses. I'm just saying that, in order for them to get a realistic view of the economical status of Iraq, you can't do that with a restricted exchange rate. You have to allow them to be competitive with other currencies around the world. In order for that to happen, they have to allow the rate to go back up.
Pempe, I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to take questions for about 20 minutes, okay?
Gotcha.
I'm going to let you go because you are the freaking bomb.com. Okay? You have done more for this channel than I can say. I mean, we got a long ways, but with your help, man, we are at 530 people, man. And these people are very interested in the dark and what it holds for them. And so I'm going to let you get a little rest. Shout out to Callie.
If you don't mind me, I'm just going to close by saying a couple things.
Yeah, go ahead, man. The floor is yours. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, okay, just let me say this. I know a lot of you have been dealing with this for years. And, you don't want your hopes to get up in order for them to be let down. All I can tell you is this. Now, I've only been at this a couple of months. But based on everything that I've seen, there's no reason to believe that it's not going to happen in 2019. It really is not. Now, having said that, I don't want you people to be spending the money in your head. I don't want you to be running around, you're jumping in your mansions or driving your Lamborghinis. Stay grounded, because we all know that, just when you think nothing can happen, something might sneak up. I'm not making excuses, because those dates are legitimate and it's absolutely going to happen, barring any stupid event. Because there's just, Iraq is on the cusp of exploding economically. I don't know why these people feel like they have to hold them back. For those of you that are in the ISX, congratulations if you're on there now. because when this revaluation happens, the stocks are going to jump up. The construction companies that are being on hold now are going to fly as soon as the gates open.
Brother, I appreciate you.
You can see a huge boom in the economy, a huge boom for the Iraq Stock Exchange, and blessings to everybody that happens to be in at this time.
Then we'll talk in a few days. We might visit Friday, but we'll talk in a few days. Get you some rest. I'm going to take calls for about 17 minutes. If not, I'll close at 9. And not for any other reason, but it's late. And I appreciate everybody coming out. So let's take a few questions. I'm going to hang with you, Pimpy, okay?
Sounds good. You have a good evening.
All right, man. Have a good one, brother. We'll talk. You and I will talk tomorrow more, okay?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, brother. Bye.
Someone wants to know, is it too late to buy the dinar or dong?
No, go out. You can buy dinar or dong whenever you get ready to. It's purchasable by either the internet companies or the what do you call those places at the mall? Those kiosks.
The currency exchange places. Just check in your local cities to see. We're in Houston, so we have a mall that has a currency store inside the mall, and they exchange IQD.
SBAs go for 3 years, Sammy. So these 3 years are up. We're doing big things. We're off that. Grounded, yes, I'm ready. 9.9 and waiting. I'm 10 years in. I'm ready. I'm loving April. Woo!
Steven said Ramadan's May 6th.
I'm off Ramadan. For Ramadan, that's Christmas for them, right? Or something like a Christmas, like a celebration type thing. Way before Ramadan. Hold on, I got a voicemail.
It's where they fast
832
from sun up to sundown.
Okay, 83258 or 258. I don't know what this number is. Let me go over here. Excuse me. Google. You can Google Gazy in. Yeah, she's fine. Is she begging?
Yeah, she's lonely.
Let her in.
Come on.
Y'all, Daisy's in here, so everybody say hi to Daisy. She wants that dinar to go so she can eat turkey every day.
So she can have
this Google phone number, I'm not seeing it on here, so I can't answer your question. I apologize. I'll have to get you after the chat. Awesome shirt, Miss BB. You're darn right, Brandon. Go Rockets. What does this pay off? All this stuff about paying off stuff. What is this about?
Oh, that's just us having a conversation, babe. Go past that.
Okay.
You got to hit play if you want to see everything in the chat.
Okay, y'all. So I am open right now for about 10 minutes of calls. Yeah, be very humble when this goes through. A lot of people have asked me what my whole plan is when I get done. I'm not going to tell you guys. Those are for rants. But stay humble and stay kind to people you don't have to be kind to. You don't want to.
Chris says, Mr. Brando, who's to say that they won't RI before July, seeing as how everything is supposedly done?
Well, that's what Pepe was saying. Pepe believes it's going to happen this month or next month. So, like, July is like our worst day. Like, July to us is like, oh my God, everything's messed up. This is FUBAR time. You know what I'm saying? But by July, the training wheels are off and it's on and popping no matter what. Okay? Unless there's a new SBA, and we'll all know the answer to that.
Somebody said all the brokers on eBay are going to be billionaires.
How? If they're not invested, you can't be a billionaire.
That was Joe Williams that called. He said, I was trying to call you going to voicemail.
Oh, well, tell Joe, call me again. Let me turn on my ringer.
Is it on Do Not Disturb or no?
You did that, yeah. I don't know how to switch it back.
I thought it was back on.
No. So, hey, shout out to investor. I don't need to see it now. I just need to get the phone calls.
Right.
So investor, shout out to Investor IQD because he's a big time thing.
You just hit end now. That's all you do. So now it's open.
So is this? I'm calling you back, caller. I'm sorry to miss your call.
There you go.
Here goes a call. You're live.
Mr. Brando, are you think you're doing tonight?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. Calling you always from Madison, Alabama.
Oh, I love Alabama. Shout out to Aniston. What's going on?
Yeah, the money that Obama had sent over to Iraq in the aircraft carrier, the billions of dollars, do that have anything to do with the RV?
No, because we've learned that the money that was either auctioned off or built for reconstruction went to an ancillary fund, and we talked about that in the last video. So I don't believe the money that that was sent over there from Bush all the way through Obama was to rebuild the country, and whatever was stolen is gone. The IMF, as well as the Federal Reserve, as well as the United States, knew that there was government stealing going on. So whatever was happening, they knew it. And so I don't believe it's a forbearance on what's going on right now, because if it was, it would be in the SBA or it'd be in the Memorandum of Understanding, and it has already been stated it is not. So no, I don't believe it's forbearance at all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, man. Have a good night, okay?
Your sister.
You too.
My sister?
Deborah.
Hey, sis. Love my sis. We are way into the 5 bills. Come on, y'all. If you got a question, Article 53 is about a prison time and monetary fines for printing fake money. Lori Priddle, that's a great point. So those people that were out there doing that got major time for doing what they're doing. Sorry, hold on. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, who is this?
This is Joe Williams.
Hey, Joe. What's going on, Big Daddy?
Not much, man. Not much. Hey, I want to thank you for sending me that info, man, that memorandum, because now I'm totally on page. I know what you're talking about now. Now, for a while, I've been trying to research everything that you talked about, but now I'm on page. I'm on pace and everything like that. And just to help out some of the listeners and what you're talking about, look at this from loans from the bank, or let's say Chapter 13, file bankruptcy, or a consolidation loan. One of those two ways. Now, this is what Iraq did with the IMF. They took a loan out against their country as collateral. Yeah, and they had certain qualifications they had to do in order to maintain this loan. They had three things they had to do. First of all, the country, the export had to do a certain amount, which it didn't. They qualified for that. And any other, I'm getting ahead of myself in all of this. Anyway, go. They qualified for this loan. Now it's time to pay the loan back. So that's why this thing is going to happen this year, within the next couple of months, because this country has to rebuild. It has to start somewhere. And I'm sitting up here reading this, and I read it every day. I'm tinkering with my guns and all that other stuff, and I'm reading it every day. It's a slow read, but at the same time, I'm getting more and more of an understanding of this thing. And I appreciate you sending me this info, man. Like I said, I look at it almost every day. Every day. But look, I'm going to hang up and listen, man. Appreciate what you're doing. Keep up the good work, man.
Man, I appreciate you, man. That's why I love you. I send it to you because the watchful eye of ex-military, ex-police is, I believe, something. You know, I'm a big fan of the veterans. I'm a big fan of, American citizens as a whole. So, bro, we'll talk later on in the week. We'll be at the gun range, probably chopping up probably one day soon, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So, we are a few minutes early. So, I want to talk about someone who said that his name is something. There's Dottie. Hey, Dottie. Some Wilson, the RV, Robert Wilson. Yeah, Robert Wilson, call me. Robert Wilson says the RV happened in 2015. Robert, would you please call in? Would someone give Robert my phone number? I'd love to hear from Robert. If Robert doesn't call me by 9:55, I'm going to hang up. But if someone please tell Robert to call me. The SBA is up for review. No, Estrange 47, the SBA is over in July. Not up for review. It's over. This is Manny. Hey, you're live.
Hey, I just got one question. How long will it take for the dong to go after the dinar revalues?
Well, that's a couple different factors. You got to consider the China-America trade agreement because China holds sanctions over that country. So as soon as those sanctions are lifted, then you can actually have a revaluation rather quickly. So, I mean, it depends on if they reach an agreement and how fast their agreement is reached.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Hey, shout out to New York. I love your city.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
What borough are you from?
I'm not from New York. I actually just have a New York number.
Nice to meet you then. All right. Google number. Bye.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. I love South Carolina too. Go Gamecock. Bye. Anyway, okay, so y'all, I really don't know a lot else to say. I mean, we've broken it down. I've given you the dates. I hope you wrote them down. Do you want to give me one more time, Miss Phoebe? Just one more time. If you didn't have your pen and paper, Miss Phoebe's going to give you some dates. Get pen and paper and write these down.
Now,
these are crucial.
I have the date March 26th through the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
What was the importance of that date?
There's a finance meeting. The Minister of Finance is meeting during that date time. Oh, yeah, one more.
Then there's a second meeting, April 21st to the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
And then July 19, 2019 is the end of the SBA agreement.
Okay. Hello?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, man?
This is Joe Williams again. I'm sorry.
I know.
I just wanted to add something to this. That money that was sent over in the airplane. Now, remember, this was sent over when Obama was negotiating a prisoner being free.
Oh.
I don't know if you remember that. Now, yes, true enough, it could have been some other things tied to that money. But this was linked to that. If you remember correctly.
Uh-huh.
You remember when they had some prisoners or something like that, somebody they had kidnapped that had to be free.
Right.
And that money was sent over as a part of that. So that money didn't have anything to do with the economy. I mean, per se, putting my asterisks up, but it didn't have anything to do with that. Well, like I said, we don't know exactly what was going on, but at the same time, this is what they were saying outside of, the little circle and stuff like that. So, yeah. I meant to say that earlier when the guy called. He called right before I called. Right. So, but yeah, that's what that money was for. It had something to do with that, but I know it had some other meanings attached to that. And everything they do in business has more than one meaning, especially when they're dealing with countries and stuff like that.
Right.
This is during that time, so that money could have been just a free for all, just something just to help them get their economy going. And it could have been something just to help boost the economy so that they can get the dinar going. But at the same time, that was sent then. So that money probably didn't have any ties to it.
Hold on real quick, Joe. Hold on real quick. I'm doing something real fast here. I know this is impromptu. This is crazy, but I'm doing something real fast. So when they negotiated that deal to get that person back, that was the reason for the boatload of money that went over there, right?
Right. They claimed that, it came out during that time. Now, like I said, that could have been just a headline reason why the money was sent there. But that money could have had other reasons. I'm going to put it that way.
Right.
None of us that's working outside of that circle knows exactly what's going on in that. And like I said, I'm not an economist, and I don't read none of this stuff. I just got onto this stuff a year ago, and I'm not saying that I'm an expert or anything like this, but I do keep up with a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm a retired police officer. I sit at home all day and play with my gun.
Okay.
Right? So that's all I do, and I sit and I watch the news, and I do read, and that's one of the things I remember. I do remember that money being flown over as a part of an agreement with Iraq to free a prisoner. I'm trying to think it was 1 or 2 prisoners. I can't remember the details of it. I'm trying to look it up right now as we talk. But I can't remember exactly who it was. But I do remember that money was thrown over there because of that reason. For that gentleman that called earlier right before me and asked about the money that was sent over there. But I'm gonna get back and listen, man.
All right, man. We about to shut it down. We about to shut it down for tonight. And I appreciate you calling back. I was trying to get something going. I just had a very good friend from Iraq try to call me back. And I'll make this last call real quick. But I don't know if I'll be able to get her. She's in Baghdad right now. She's talking about, yes, they talk about increasing the value of the Iraqi dinar on television. She said, but it's a lot of talking and not doing. Is that what it says, Ms. BB?
I'm sorry.
So,
but if it changed to up, of course they'll be happy.
And what was my comment?
They say this on Iraqi TV. I don't think it's only speaking without doing.
About increasing the value. Only speaking about doing, right?
But speaking, are you in Iraq? Yes, Baghdad.
So, y'all, I'm trying to get you guys the most up-to-date information. I'm trying to get you guys the people that can help you.
She said the value of the dinar is constant.
Yeah, she said right now the value of the dinar is constant because of, stuff that's going on there now. Hello?
Hello. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing? You have a really pronounced voice. I'm sorry. You're my last call. What's going on?
I just wanted to tell you that I listened to your show. I've been in this investment for as long as it's come out. And I just want to say I appreciate you and your wife. Y'all are fantastic. And I'm originally from Texas. And I'm ready just to go.
Well, man, we're ready to go too, bro. And I appreciate you listening and thank you for everything. And I ain't going to hold nobody else all night. It's 10 o'clock, so you know what time it is. It is time to go. And thank you for being my last call. Good night, okay?
Good night.
Good night. And he said it best. Good night.